Hello. Oh, my mic's way up there. Let me pull that down. Try to set up my stream and forget I need a microphone to talk in. There we go. Hope everybody can hear me okay. Hope everybody's doing all right tonight. Thursday, live stream. Here we are. So I have a question from Jennifer Lego that says, I know bed bugs prefer... Do I have links to the left? I'm not sure what links I have to the left. To the left, to the left. But she asked that if they do not have access to a human, will a domestic pet do? So basically, will bed bugs bite an animal like a pet, like a cat or a dog, or, a hamster, whatever? If bed bugs do not have access to a person, then they will bite your pets. I have found bed bugs living around pet beds before. They don't live on the dog or the cat like a flea will, but they will actually bite cats and dogs and stuff like that. And I don't know for sure if they bother the pet in the same way it bothers a human as far as histamine reactions and everything like that. So hopefully that'll answer your question. But if you are, you're the human, so you're the person living in the house. If you're there, the bed bug is going to bite you. That's who they're going to bite, typically. And Sarah says the same thing. She's talked to other pest control professionals, and that bed bugs will go after pets that are mammals or birds if that's all that's available. But the thing is that bed bugs will eat bats and stuff too. They'll get into bats and they'll get onto other animals. That's what they believe happened, is that people, there are places in the world still today that people still live in caves in the Middle East because it's cooler than being out in the desert. And there's places that people still, live side by side with bats. And that there is a breed of bat bug that actually prefers humans to bats. And that's why we have bed bugs, is because they started living with humans and now they're eating on humans. But they can eat other animals. They don't have to feed on people alone. Also, I wanted to mention, so I had a question tonight. Let me see if I don't want to pull it up here because it was a personal question on my Facebook. So I have let me see, which one of these is it? I need to pull up another window. There we go. All right. So on my Facebook page, and I thought I would talk about it tonight, where is it? Facebook is so hard to navigate. As soon as you realize this is how it's supposed to be used, they go and they change it on you, and then you have to try to figure out your way around, and it's the most obnoxious thing. I don't understand why they can't just stick with what works. All right. So let me see here. Inbox. I wanted to get the exact question that was asked. All right. So, I have a question about bed bugs. Can they be in only one room? When my children sleep in their room, they are getting bit. I have bought some of that Crossfire, and I've been watching your videos on YouTube. And I answered. I said, all right, so here's the thing. This is a really common question, and this is why I wanted to go over this tonight on my channel, is because people... Okay, so bed bugs prefer, just like they prefer people, because that's what I actually thought maybe to go over this was Jennifer's question, is bed bugs not only prefer certain types of creatures, like humans, to feed on, they will pick some people over other people. So if you have children and the bed bugs prefer to bite your children, a lot of times they will actually hang out in just those rooms or the couches and the love seats where those children hang out, because that's just the person they like to feed on. So that's actually a really common thing. I had a customer once years ago that had they had a queen size bed. The the man's aunt started coming in to stay with them because she was finishing up on their house. And so she was getting like all the last closing things. You know, they had to get the final inspection and all that stuff. And while she was in the process of doing that, she had to live with her nephew and his family, or her sister. And the boy was getting bit in the one room, and no one else in the house was getting bit at all. He didn't even exhibit bites. So because he wasn't reacting from the bedbug bite, he wasn't actually having blistery spots or welts or anything like that on his body. But when she moved in, she got the room right next to his because that was the room that was empty. And so she was sleeping in there, and then the bed bugs moved in there and started biting her. They were still biting him, but they preferred her as well as him. And so she started getting bit. She started having reactions. I estimated when I went into the house that they had probably had the bed bugs for at least a couple of years, but no one else had noticed them because the bed bugs weren't attracted to anyone else in the house except him. So the only way they found out they actually had the bed bugs was because he wasn't reacting, he wasn't itching, he wasn't having problems with the bites, is that his aunt started getting bit by the bed bugs. So that's actually a really common thing for, and like I said, you could ask me these questions too. If I don't happen to be on my live stream, I have a Facebook page. You can go and send questions there, or you can ask me questions on, let's see, what was the other, Discord. So I have a Discord chat. It's in the link below. If you go to the description and read the links for Discord, that's where you can actually get a hold of me anytime. It's basically like text messaging. I know Discord's really common in gamer communities. I'm a gamer. I like playing video games. But that's one way that you can get a hold of me if you need to ask me any questions anytime. It's basically just like texting me, but you have to download the Discord app and join the channel. So let's see. The man in the motorcycle mask says, "What's the best mouse bait from Home Depot?" None of it. None of it's any good. The problem, now it depends on where you live, but there were laws passed a little while ago in the U.S. that where they don't want single feed. So they don't want poison that kills with one feeding available to the general public. The NPA actually lobbied the government because the government was going to outlaw all single feed rat poison. In fact, they have outlawed it in some states. I think California is one of them. And the reason being is because they're worried that people's cats and dogs and maybe even children might get a hold of rat poison, and they don't want that to happen. Now, it's not that like often of a thing that somebody's child goes around and just eats a block of rat poison. They're actually made to taste extremely nasty. But so what they did was they require now that rat poison has to be packaged in bulk containers if it is a single feed bait, because that kind of, it makes the bait, one, it makes it way expensive, a lot more expensive than what the average consumer is going to be willing to pay. And you're going to buy so much rat poison at one time that you're never going to use it all. And it will go bad, it will spoil before you're able to actually use it all. And so you're wasting your money. And so the goal is to limit how many people actually have their hands on rat poison. And so I actually have, so if you go to my, let's see, my Amazon page, which is also linked below. I'll share the screen real quick. So this is my Amazon page here. And like I said, it's linked in the description. All this stuff is in the description. But if you scroll down and you look at mouse control right here, you can click there. And this is the bait that I use for my business. This is what I recommend. This is what I have used my entire life. It's changed from several different forms. It used to look kind of like a crayon, but now it's like this, it looks like a little, how to get a picture of it and show you. But this is the actual bait. This is Weatherblock XT. The active ingredient is Brodifacoum. It is very dangerous. You have to be very careful how you use it. You can't bait burrows. You can't put it in like a hole in the ground. You need to put it in bait stations because you don't want pets or children being able to get a hold of it. If I use it in my profession, I use these little bait stations like this, and I usually place them up against the wall behind like a kitchen stove. So like you pull the drawer out on the bottom of the stove and all the way up against the wall, where the baseboard sits behind the stove. I might put one there, or I might put a bait station in a drop ceiling or an attic space, places that nobody is going to be able to get a hold of the bait station, but where it is, so you can monitor the poison to make sure that the mice are actually dying and getting it into the poison. And so what you do is you go back behind yourself and you open this bait station up, and they usually come with keys. It's like a little safety lock right there. And so that's what I recommend using for actual mouse control. In fact, I recommend this stuff for if you own your own business doing pest control. I have never had a problem with rodents taking this poison, even rats. And the one thing about rats is that they will actually, they don't like to take new things. So like if you put down mouse poison and a rat is not used to it and they don't know what it is and they've never seen it before, they won't eat it. They won't take it. They won't pick it up. They might walk past it for 4 or 5 weeks before they decide that looks like something I might want to bite into and eat. I had a house one time that I serviced where the rats were really bad, but they were able to get into the dog food. And so I told them to take the dog food, and it took them a couple months before they actually realized they need to take the dog food and pick it up, get it out of the floor, put it in a container, like a plastic container or something like that. And so they did, and when they did, the rat had no other option but the rat poison. And it had been walking by it for so long, for 2 or 3 months straight. The next month when I came out, the entire bait station was completely empty of rat poison, and they had even chewed half of the plastic inside the rat poison inside the rat bait station, because they liked it so much, because it was the only option. They didn't have any more pet food to eat. And so I usually recommend that if you have a problem with mice or rats, that you want to limit their supply of like dog food, cat food, pantry food. If you notice that they're getting into like cereals or rice, grains, stuff like that, you want to keep those products in a plastic container that's thick enough to where the mice and the rats can't get into it. So that way it really limits their options as to what they can and cannot eat. And so I've been getting on my wife. I know that I told you last week, if you've been paying attention, that I am working on a video on the best sprayers. So for those that you have watched me for a while, I do a lot of DIY videos on YouTube. So in fact, if you haven't liked the video, give me a thumbs up now and hit the notification bell and subscribe to me. Subscribe to me, then hit the notification bell, because if you go to my YouTube channel and you scroll down, I have, let's see, where are they? There we go. I've got these do-it-yourself channel. So if you look over here, if you look over here, I've got like my very first video is how to get rid of bed bugs guaranteed. How to get rid of German cockroaches, how to get rid of springtails, how to get rid of fleas, and all these different DIY videos. So that raises a lot of questions. People are like, how do I get the chemicals? And then they go to my Amazon page and they're like, wow, this is really nice because it's got all this different products. But if you go here and you say you have fleas, you want to get rid of fleas, but this B&G right here, this is the sprayer that I use in my job. This is the sprayer. If you look at the prices for these things on Amazon, they're like $600, and on your like DIY type pest control pages, they're like $300. I think the cheapest I've found is like $225, but they're very expensive. Their quality, they're going to last you a lifetime. In fact, my dad still has his from when he started his business in the 80s, But they're a great little, sprayer. It's what I use. It's basically industry standard for pest control. And so she is actually in the process of ordering like 5-star rated Amazon sprayers, just regular plastic sprayers that anyone would buy on Amazon. And I'm going to try them out and I'm going to judge them based on how they perform so that you guys can get a better feel for a decent sprayer to be able to do your own pest control, to actually be successful at doing pest control, because it's not enough to just know the different pesticides that you need to use. It's also how to use it, how to apply them correctly, and not over apply and not under apply in order to get rid of your bug problem. Much in the same way that a doctor will prescribe you a specific dose of like medicine, like aspirin, Tylenol, even, whatever, painkillers or whatever. If you take too much, you can get sicker than you already are. And if you don't take enough, you won't get well. So it's the same thing with pesticide, is if you use too much, you're going to overdo it and you may cause the problem to get worse. And if you don't use enough, well, it definitely won't take care of your problem or putting it in the right place. And that's why a sprayer, what you're actually going to apply with actually matters. It extremely matters. Have you ever eaten a bed bug? Yeah, I don't know what it is. This is a question that comes up every single stream, asking me if I eat bed bugs. No, I have never eaten a bed bug. I have never eaten a bed bug. Has anybody else in here eaten a bed bug? Please, JT, do you show up here every single week to ask me if I have eaten bed bugs? I get this question all the time. I never got this question before, but now it seems like every single week somebody has to come in here and ask me if I eat bed bugs. I am not that hungry. I had Mexican tonight. I know Cinco de Mayo was yesterday. Hope everybody had a good Cinco de Mayo. But I'm like, no, I don't eat bugs. I can afford to eat better things than bugs. Typically, how long does it take to eradicate a bed bug? So if your Kojin Master asked this question, so if you're spraying for bed bugs, and you're using Crossfire, it takes 1 to 2 months typically. Now, if it's a heavily infested, an extremely heavily infested house, it may take several months. It just depends on how bad the bed bugs are. That's, I've done some jobs where I've gone 4 times. I've had only a couple that are like that, but they're just so heavily infested. And not only that, but the people continue to bring the bed bugs into their house. And so they won't change their habits. So if it's, just to give you an example, I've got a guy I've been working for who has a man living in his apartment. Now, he's not homeless, but he used to be homeless. And so he's got this thing where he picks up clothes off the curb, and he picks up stuff if they sees it in the trash and he thinks he could get some use out of it. He goes, he gets it, he brings it in the house, and then he's got bed bugs back in the house again. And you can't train him to not do these things. So it's very difficult for this specific landlord, because this guy keeps bringing bed bugs in. And so if you can't curb your habits of the places you're actually going, bringing these bugs into your home, then you're going to continue to have a problem, and you're going to have to continue to retreat your house every month in order to, once you get rid of them, even just to make sure they stay gone. So if you have family, if you have friends that visit that you just don't want to break ties with, yet they have bed bugs, then that's something you're going to have to look at in the future. You may need to just retreat your house every month just to keep them away. And you can do that, and you don't have to order Crossfire and do that, every single month. There are other bed bug pesticides out there that you could use that aren't as expensive, that you can treat, once you get rid of the infestation, to actually help keep them down, like Alpine. Alpine WSG is, so let's go back to Amazon, and I'll show you. So if you go up here to spider control, it's in there. It's also in my bed bugs, but there's a container of Alpine. Now that's $160 for that one. So if you go to the page, it's actually $160, $159.95. That's actually a pretty good price, honestly. But that's 500 grams. So if you look at the lid, you've got the 10 gram, 20 gram, 30 gram, 40 gram, 50 gram. This is a dry pesticide. It's not a liquid. So you mix 10 to 30 grams in 1 gallon of water. It dissolves in the water, and that's what you apply when you don't have a bedbug infestation. You can use that, and if you were to bring the bedbugs in and they try to like live around your baseboards in the different places, you can, and that this kills not only bedbugs, it will kill ants, it kills cockroaches, it kills spiders, it kills fleas. It is an amazingly versatile product, and it works really well on bugs that aren't bed bugs along with bed bugs. So it's something you can do to eliminate other bugs in your house along with the bed bug problem you've been dealing with, or that you might actually bring back in. But no, usually it does take about 2 months. Once a month is all you really need to treat with Crossfire. There have been times in rare instances where it's taken me 3 or 4 months to get rid of them, but that's in the real extreme cases, like I said before, when people are continuing to bring them in. It's one of those things where it's really just maintenance, because you just, I mean, the same with mice. If you have a house that has a lot of cracks, a lot of holes, a lot of places that just can't be patched, and like maybe an older home, maybe built around turn of the century, and you're having problems with the mice getting in the house, some of those houses you just can't seal the mice out of because it's just too, and the same with bed bugs. If you live in an apartment,
it's 10 p.m. and a school night. See you tomorrow, buddy.
That does it every single week, whatever. It doesn't matter if I tell her to be quiet for an hour, she still goes off every single week. But anyway, so hello from Canada, Caveman. Hey, Caveman. I actually used to watch that show that you got on your little picture there. I used to watch that Caveman show when I was a kid all the time. I like my Hanna-Barbera cartoons. So, I'm tired. I've already taken a nap since I've been home today because I'm working harder than ever. It's that time of year. I'm always busy. Hope everybody's doing good. So, we found out. So, my wife, for those that don't know, is having a baby. We're having a baby. Charlie, my little baby, he's toddler. He's 2.5. He was born in October. And I've got another baby due in October. So we've gotten the date. My wife is probably going to be induced. But we have the date, and the baby is, we did a DNA test, and we know what the baby's going to be. It's going to be a boy. So we're going to have another boy. Emma, poor thing, only girl out of 3 boys. 1 girl. But, yeah, so I thought I'd let everybody know we are having a boy. My wife asked me if I was going to do a gender reveal for my YouTube. I'm like, nah, I'm just going to tell them, yeah, we're having a boy. For those that were interested. I know there are some people that follow me just to, I don't know why. It's just, I don't know. I guess they like to talk to me. But, yeah, we're having a boy. Caveman said, I made friends with a mouse once. I know it sounds silly, but I sprung the traps and would feed her. Oh, see, I couldn't do that. Couldn't do that. Misty says, I was recently given a sweater from a friend who, unbeknownst to me, has a severe bedbug infestation. I saw one crawling on my bed and called my landlord. We inspected and did not find any more. I found one old casing. I am having my apartment treated just to be safe and want to vacuum my bed, etc. beforehand. I have a bagless vacuum and am curious how to properly clean it afterward. Okay, so that's hard. So a bagless vacuum is... I'm not one to really use vacuums for bed bugs. I usually don't recommend... especially, well, mainly with pest control. So a lot of pest control technicians will vacuum for roaches. They'll vacuum for bed bugs in order to suck up any live or dead bugs that remain. And I just have always been worried because I have had people that have commented on my videos that they have actually infested their own homes with vacuums they have used on the job for both bed bugs and cockroaches. And it's something that I myself just don't do. I tell the customer they can do it if they want to, which this is where the shape that you're in. It's not a bad idea to vacuum. I think it's a good idea to vacuum and try to get up, especially any dead bugs. But as far as live bugs, it's really difficult. So I can tell you what other people have done with bagless vacuums. Bagged vacuums are the best because you can just take a bag, throw it away. But a bagless vacuum, I have one customer, and I don't recommend doing this. I just will make sure you know I don't recommend doing this. But I had a customer that would go behind me and vacuum up the bed bugs. And what did is she had a like one of those little handheld Dysons that was, it's got the canister on it, so it's not a it's like a dust buster, but it's got a canister vacuum attached to it. And she took that and she put a mothball, just one mothball, inside her Dyson canister. And like I said, I don't recommend doing this because mothballs actually produce a toxic gas called paradichlorobenzene or naphthalene that is toxic to humans. And when you put it in a vacuum cleaner and it builds up that gas inside that chamber, when you turn the vacuum on, it actually circulates the air out around you, and it will make your entire room smell like mothballs. And it's not healthy for you to breathe that kind of stuff in. And so I don't recommend doing it, but she swore not a single bug would live inside her vacuum when she did that. So that's the best thing I can tell you to do in the condition of a cordless vacuum, like not a cordless, but a canister vacuum. But you can do from what I understand, I mean, if you read the label of Crossfire, the label of Crossfire allows you to treat anything that bed bugs are in or around. And if you were to spray Crossfire inside the vacuum canister and allow it to dry, don't stir it up in the air. See, the problem is that Crossfire, while it's an extremely safe pesticide, it's also not safe to inhale it. It does cause death in rats within 4 hours when it is inhaled. So that's the problem. That's the issue with using vacuums, is vacuums circulate into the air. And so it is better, what I would recommend is go to the store and buy a cheap bagged vacuum and just throw the bags away. And that way you've got something you can use for bugs, and you could just toss the bags in the trash, or a shop vac that you could take outside and wash out. That would be better. And you can even buy a shop vac from Lowe's for $20, $30. In fact, let's see. If we go to Lowe's, if I could type, I'm tired. Let's see. Let's go to shop vac. So here's some shop vacs here. You could get a little cheap shop vac. Let's see. Let's price it. Can you sort? Let's see. Sort from low to high. Bunch of filters. No, I don't want to talk to anybody. Why are you still there? Go away, little man. There we go. Let's go page 3. Oh, well, I went too far. Let's go to page 2. Let's see. There we go. So you can get one for less than $50. There's a little bitty one right there that would work. I mean, any one of these would probably work, but the point is that you could take this whole top piece off and actually take this bottom canister that you're using to catch everything outside and wash it out. And then you don't have to worry about bugs being in it. And yes, Caveman says, how about keeping it in a big Ziploc and only using it for bed bugs to avoid spreading? The thing is, a vacuum, I mean, you can't keep a vacuum in a Ziploc bag. I don't think there's a bag that big for a Ziploc. But I do know that in some of the old medical supply stores I used to service, they would get the breathing machines, that they would bring back in where people would, like the bubblers and the oxygen machines and stuff, and sometimes it'd be full of cockroaches and bed bugs because they sit right next to the bed where somebody is going to be sleeping. And so they'll take those and actually put them in the giant garbage bags and double tape, tie them, knot them, tie them up at the top so that the bed bugs can't get out of the bag. And they'll leave them there, like in their shop for like 2 years, and just let the bed bugs starve to death, because they will starve if they're left without a blood meal for 18 months at least. They'll all die off. In fact, most of them will die before then, but they can live up to 18 months without a blood meal. Sarah says, I had a heat chamber zap bug I would put my vacuum through. So yeah, but they do warn you on those heat chambers with electronic devices that you could ruin your electronic devices, and that would include a vacuum cleaner. So that's like that. Like I said, this is all like at your own risk. Oh, we got a call. Let's see what's going on here. Hello, how are you tonight? This is
Hello,
Jason
I'm
with
doing
Green Acres
okay.
Pest Control.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said. I'm so sorry.
I said this is Jason with Green Acres Pest Control. Did you have a question?
Oh, yes, this is Misty Skaggs. I actually just was asking you about the
Yes, you
vacuum
are.
cleaner.
Yes, you were.
Well, I have a couple of other questions because I have never had this happen to me in my life, and
Okay.
I'm freaking out. Um,
Okay.
the fact that I found the one bed bug it was crawling on the side of my bed, and I actually had pest control come out, and he inspected everything, and he's the one that found this little bitty casing on my box spring, but there was nothing else anywhere that he found. We're going to be treating my apartment in an overabundance of caution, but my landlord can't tell me when that's going to happen. And so I was going to just do my own thing because I'm freaking out about sleeping in my bed.
So the bed bug that you found, you
Uh-huh.
killed that one, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, and he found one casing on your bed, but you haven't found anything else. Have you been bitten anymore, or have you been bitten at all since then?
I have not been bitten that I'm aware of.
Okay. So, do you think it was brought in? Do you think somebody actually brought him in to your apartment, or you
I think
accidentally brought him in?
I think it was on the sweater that my friend gave
Oh,
me.
that's right. You said that. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you brought a sweater in from and it just happened to have a bed bug on it. Like I did a house
Mhm.
the other day where a guy had them all over his jacket, and I didn't even realize they were on him. We were
Oh,
standing outside. Oh,
Lord.
his house was so infested. It was so bad. But it's
Oh,
one of the
wow.
worst. In fact, if you look at my TikTok videos, I've got several of his house on there. But it was pretty severe. But um, when I was standing outside, explaining to him, don't go back in the house for 2 or 3 hours and all that. And I looked at him, and they were crawling like all over his
Oh,
jacket.
whew.
It was so bad. And,
Oh, wow.
but in instances where you go into a house, and I do this all the time, and you may not even be able to find bed bugs, but they may have had one. Like I had a lady one time who had one inside her freezer. It's the only reason I knew is because she took it, she put it in a baggie, she saved it for me. When I got to her house, she's like, "What is this?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's a bed bug." And I did not find anything in her apartment. Now, what I would advise if you have somebody that's going to come and spray, what you
Mhm.
need to do yourself is you need to do as uh, I want to put this lightly. You want to do this as least as possible that you can do and still be able to help yourself with the problem that you've got. And the reason I say this is because bed bugs react differently to different pesticides. One of the problems that I run into as a professional is when I go in behind somebody that's done their own pest control for like a bed bug problem,
Mhm.
they will a lot of the stuff you buy over the counter like at Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's, all these different stores, most of those pesticides are highly repellent pesticides, and the pesticides I use are not. And so if you use a repellent and then I come behind you and use a non-repellent, the non-repellent won't work because the repellent
Mm.
shines through, because those a lot of those
Right.
pesticides you buy over the counter last 90 days. And so
Oh,
Crossfire is a 30-day residual, and if you were to use Crossfire on top of like bifenthrin or cypermethrin or any of these other pesticides that they have over the counter, they last 90 days. And so for 30 days the Crossfire won't even work the whole month, and then you're still wondering,
wow.
why am I still getting bit, why am I still getting attacked by these bugs? Because they're not actually going through the chemical they need to go through. And so,
Okay.
like diatomaceous earth, people will put that stuff out, and it will actually drive them crazy. They will try their best to avoid it because it's like broken glass. And so,
Mhm.
it's the same exact concept as if I drop a whole box of say ball jars, like the mason jars, and they break all over the
Mhm.
floor. There's no way you're going to walk to me across that broken glass unless you're Bruce Willis and a wonderful Christmas movie. But the point is that the and that's a joke. That's a horrible joke.
Yes.
But anyway, the diatomaceous earth is the same thing, and so the bed bugs, if they can see it, they won't even crawl through that either. And so people will put that stuff out, and it could take so long to vacuum it up. And so if I were to advise you to do anything at all yourself, that would be, and if you want to use a pesticide and you're worried that they're not going to come and do it, in a timely manner, then Crossfire is the only thing I would recommend, either that or Alpine, because those two pesticides are non-repellents. And if they were to come in and use a repellent, it wouldn't even matter because you've used a non-repellent. And so that way you're not going to inhibit anything they're going to do. But I use Crossfire. I mean, if I came to your house, if you lived like right down the road and I was coming to your house tomorrow to treat for bed bugs, that's what I use. I don't use anything but Crossfire. That's the only thing I've used for 4 years. And I've been able to go into houses that are like that guy's house I told you about, and I have not had to go back because they killed them all.
So then maybe you can help me with this, which I know like you haven't been here, so you haven't seen it, but just with what I've told you, I have a tendency when it comes to bugs, especially bed bugs, to freak out.
Oh yeah, every bug. Yeah, I know people like that.
So, do you think that am I okay? I mean, or cause like I could move out.
It may be the only one. So the fact that you only had one casing, and the fact that you only had one live bug and you've killed it, it may be only one. That's the thing. It may be only one bug that you had, because if it was just one stray bug that happened to be on a sweater and it came off and it bit you, it maybe did bit you, or maybe it bit the person that had the sweater before and shed its skin. Because so what bed bugs do is they go through an instar. So they have instar phases. So what that means is when they hatch from their egg, they don't bite right away. When they do bite, they shed their skin because they fill up on blood, they shed their skin, and then they wait another 6 to 10 days to bite, and then they shed their skin again, they bite again, and that's called an instar phase. It's when a bug sheds its skin to get larger, and bed bugs go through 5 instars. So that's why you found a casing, is because it was growing larger, and you probably killed it. And that's the thing. So if you killed it and it was in an instar phase, it wasn't even old enough to lay eggs yet. So you don't have eggs, and this is just hypothetically, is that that's what I think anyway. That's how I would approach it. Is I would approach it as if you had the one bed bug. I would still treat, because you never know, you can have multiple problems with bugs. But the house that I told you where the lady had the one in the freezer, she actually called me 3 days after I treated her house, as she found 3 bed bugs came out and died, and we could not find anything. I was there for almost 3 hours, and I did not find any bed bugs in her house. And I went over the whole house, and I didn't find any more. But they were. But anyway, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think what I'm gonna do, because the landlord told me it's not gonna be like weeks or anything, but I'm like, I want you to come today,
Oh yeah.
So I think that, like, if I just vacuum my mattress and my box spring, and then just leave it alone and let the professional come and treat my apartment, then that's probably the best thing to do. Right?
That's what I would recommend. You can ask the pest control, like Jennifer in chat said that I would ask the pest guy what chemical he's using. I would do that. I would actually ask just to make sure. They won't always tell you, but they'll tell the landlord. And so, because it's their job, the thing is, so in Virginia, it's the law. I have to disclose every pesticide that I use in your home. You have to know what I'm using in your home, just for first aid reasons. I mean, if for some reason I use something that could harm you, you need to know what it is. So you need to tell your doctor what's happened. And so it's the law in Virginia. Now, I don't know if it's the same in every state, because I only practice in Virginia. So that's the only state I work in. But I would ask at least the landlord to make sure to find out what kind of chemicals that are being used in your home. And then if you know that they're using Crossfire, or even Apprehend, both of those will kill your bedbug problem.
Okay. So I just I'm going to calm down then.
Oh yeah, you'll be fine.
Not like...
I don't think it's a real serious problem. I think it's very mild to little, and it's a good thing you caught it early on before they actually did start laying eggs.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
Well, thank you so much. I've been watching your videos like for the last several hours, doing all kinds of research, and you've been great.
Oh, anytime. I'm glad that I could be helpful. You have a good night.
All right. You too.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So anybody wants to call, feel free. That always takes me by surprise when the phone rings. Hold on just 1 minute. All right. So let's see now. Let's get back to chat. What everybody was saying. Jennifer said, DE does not work. All I killed was money. That's a good one. I like that one. That's good. I have to remember that one for later. All I killed was money using diatomaceous earth. Detramaceous says, when you want to do his home that was full of bugs, what did you do about all their clothing? Okay, so when people have bugs living on their clothing, I tell people to take and wash the clothes. You could put them in. In fact, I was just there. He's one of the ones that I have to do like regularly because he's letting homeless people come in and live with him and bringing bugs into his apartment. And so the landlord, actually, I just gave a letter to the landlord stating that, he's really the problem. He's the issue. It's not necessarily the bed bugs. If he would just do what he's being told to do, we'll get rid of his bed bugs, no problem. But the problem is he's having all these people. He had, the day I went to his house, he had 5 people in his house other than him that I had never met before. And I've been to his house like 3 times, and there's always different people there. And so when you're circulating that many people in and out of your home and you have bed bugs, not only are they picking them up and taking them with them, but they're also bringing them back. When they come back to visit you again, they're bringing them right back in your house, and you'll never get rid of them. You just stir the pot around and around, and you never really get rid of your problem. And so, but I do recommend that everyone with that serious of a problem where the bed bugs are actually in your clothes, which it's rare, it does happen. I recommend that people actually take the clothing and wash and dry them on high heat water and high heat dryer. So that will kill the bed bugs in your clothing. So Caveman says, even though they aren't supposed to be a health hazard, they could really freak you out. And yeah, psychologically. Yeah, they do. They do. They affect people. And they also cause, so this is other thing. I was contacted by somebody the other day. Like I said, this is another Facebook question that came through. And she said, hi, I found your channel on YouTube. I've been seeking ways to get rid of bed bugs. My son brought the bed bugs to my home after visiting a friend last summer. I have used Crossfire Concentrate on 3 separate occasions, 3 to 4 weeks apart, so about once a month for about 3 to 4 months, applying as is directed, spraying my entire home. Each time I was sure to concentrate on baseboards, remove the backing of the box spring to reach each nook and cranny I could find, and did the same to the sofas. I have also washed all my bedding, vacuumed, used Semexa insecticide dust, alcohol, and steam. I have not physically seen any live bugs since January, but I could still feel them crawling and biting. So this is a very common thing, even when you eliminate your bed bugs, to still feel like they're biting you because of the psychological effects it has on you. It causes this thing that we call in the industry the phantom itch. And it's as if you still have the bed bugs, they're still biting you, and you'll scratch open sores, and you'll think you have bed bugs, but you don't. It actually is creating what's called a phantom itch, and it's because it affects you psychologically in your mind, and you still think you have them, and your body is still triggered so severely over this problem you've had that you think you have bed bugs, but you don't. So that's a real common thing. If you have gotten rid of your bed bugs and you can't find them anywhere else, and you've treated your house and you can't find them, and it's been months yet you still are getting bit, a lot of times it's caused by phantom itch, and it actually isn't bed bugs. It's more of a psychological issue. So keep that in mind. Let's see. Dan says, Dan, hello. I'm not even going to try to say the last name on there. I got rid of my own bed bugs, listened to some of your ideas, and am good. So he's listened to some of the ideas on this channel, and he's been able to get rid of his problem, and that he had the phantom itch. And I said, yes, that's actually, it's real. It's a real thing. The phantom itch is absolutely real. And people will say you're crazy, but you're not. it's a very common occurrence with bed bugs because of the psychological effect that bed bugs have on people. It's just, for some reason, people, I guess it's because ingrained in our brain and society all these years that, we've been told, sleep tight, don't let the bed bugs bite, maybe not even know what bed bugs are. And, so they can drive you crazy, so to speak, and make you feel like you're itchy and you're not. And Caveman says that he just woke up one day and thought, I just don't have bed bugs anymore, and then it just changed, and then you don't have the itch anymore. And it's one of those things where you kind of have to trick your mind into believing that you don't have bed bugs and you'll stop itching. So Razorblade says, I'd rather be homeless than deal with a room full of bed bugs. I wanted to mention something tonight too. So I've got 19 people here. If any of you are on TikTok, so I talked to Misty about it on the phone, and you heard me talk to her. If anyone here is on TikTok, this is my TikTok channel. Now, that's kind of creepy. Some of the videos that I do on TikTok, I can't release on YouTube. And the reason I can't release them is because TikTok has an ability to use copyrighted music that you just can't use on YouTube without getting strikes. So I use it on TikTok. I make like this one here. This is called The Bedbug Show, and it's the theme to Full House. And so it's just funny. It's like a joke. And then I've got the worst roach job I've ever done. I did a story time for like the worst roach job I've ever done. Talking about my son, quotes for my son. So there's like some family stuff on here. Ways to mix crossfire, different bed bugs like this one here. This is one that I couldn't actually put on my YouTube channel. But if I mute my desktop audio, I might be able to play it for you. But let's see, let's mute that too. There we go. Because it's the theme song to Goosebumps from the TV show when I was a kid. But these are actually bed bugs. This is a video from that house I was talking to her about where they were really, really severe. And these are all over the box spring bed bugs. And so I make these videos, but I like the ability of TikTok because I can use different music. I can use music I grew up with. I can use, pop music now that's popular. And so it's really cool. And once I get, and this is you doing me a solid. Once I get it, I only have 87 followers on TikTok right there. 87 followers. If I can get to 1,000 followers, I can stream live on TikTok too. And at night when I do my live streams for you guys, I'll stream live on TikTok and answer questions from them too, and it'll just make the show even better. And so I got almost 14,000 people that watch my YouTube channel. So you guys get together and go on and follow me on TikTok. Even if you don't use it, go follow me on TikTok so that I can start doing live streams on TikTok too and help even more people. Because that's really why I'm here. I mean, it's 10:30. I could be in bed, but I'm not. I'm here talking with you guys and spending the night with you and answering questions because that's what I like to do. Jennifer Lego says, I saw a real difference after the first use. Silly me. I lost the bottle. I reordered today. Well, hopefully you find it. That stuff's expensive to just lose. Caveman says, yeah, those filters weird me out too. Yeah, this is one I did. The face of bedbug makes the face the bedbug hiding in the wall makes when the heat machine cuts off. See? So I did that yesterday. It's just funny things, stupid stuff. It's really cringy, dumb stuff, but it's fun. It's like I said, it's fun stuff for me to do. It's just things that I could do that's silly. My daughter and I are obsessed with Snapchat filters and all the different things they could do to your face, and so we make videos together too a lot. So anyway, Caveman says, yeah, those filters weird me out. I said, Denise says, what about mites or baby carpet beetles? They are super tiny and seem like Phantom Itch. Okay, so you can get mites. Mites are super tiny and they will bite you, especially pigeon mites, chicken mites, poultry mites. I think chicken and poultry is the same thing. But the point is that these bugs will bite you thinking they can get the meal they need off of you, and they really need a bird. Poultry mites can live up to 9 months in your house without a bird. So, but yeah, TikTok is a pretty... The problem with TikTok is that it kind of gets used to who you are and what you like to watch. And when you first sign up with it, you have to kind of tell it what your interests are. And I watch funny stuff all the time. It's a way for me to kind of sit back in the evening with my wife, and I'll send her like 20 or 30 messages with TikToks in them, and she'll watch them, and we'll watch them together. I'm like, yeah, it's pretty crazy. And she's like, I can't believe you watch some of this stuff that you watch on TikTok. Some of it's pretty crazy. But it's funny. It's my kind of humor. I have a very weird, sick humor, I guess. But anyway. So Dan Hello says, one of the best things that worked for me is getting the powdered stuff, vacuum it, then would clean a lot, then spray. Okay, so the problem with DE powder, though, and the reason I don't recommend it, now Semexa is one thing. Semexa isn't as bad on you as DE. It's still a silicate. It's still not good for your lungs. But the problem with using a dust is that a lot of the bulk, all right, so if you use an insecticide dust or a dust like DE, the bulk of the powder is actually like a silicate. Silicates are a family of minerals, I guess is the way you'd say it. So sand is considered a silicate. DE, not DE itself. DE itself is diatoms. So diatoms are a microscopic organism from the ocean, and they dredge the ocean, and it's like these little teeny tiny crustaceans, basically dead crustaceans. And so that's what you create the glass effect, so that the bugs, when they crawl across it, it shreds them and they die. But it cuts through their exoskeleton, they dehydrate and they die. The problem with these dusts is that, just like in your house, my wife actually filmed the dust in the living room this morning because the sun was shining in through the window just right this afternoon, where it shined and sparkled off of the particles in the air, the dust particles. And that dust could be diatomaceous earth that you've spread in your house. And when you breathe in that dust, it builds up in your lungs, and it does the same thing to your lungs as it does to a bug's exoskeleton. And it can flare up problems in people like who have asthma, emphysema, COPD. It can cause mild asthmas and COPD. It causes respiratory health concerns when you breathe in diatomaceous earth, Semexa, or any kind of a dust, because most of the time the particulate harms your lungs. And that's why I don't recommend people use it. And people say, oh, I just put barely anything. Well, that's fine, but when you walk through the room, you stir up dust. It happens all the time. If you've ever seen the sun shine through your room and actually look at the particles in the air, it's everywhere. And dust gets stirred up back into the air. Even though you place it on the ground, it does stir up into the air. And if you vacuum it, it's going to really stir it up in the air. So, but if you put powder in the vacuum, I guess you're asking, so they asked now, would the powder in the vacuum kill the bed bugs that I vacuumed? It's a possibility, but your vacuum will also stir the particulate back into the air. You need a HEPA filter vacuum. If you have a HEPA filter vacuum, it should filter out all the particulate of the DE that you've put out in your apartment. Razorblade says, my roommate poured a container of DE all over his floor. Oh, I know, I've seen it. I've come out of people's houses that have been using diatomaceous earth, and I come out looking like I bathed in the stuff. It's like talcum powder all over your body. It's miserable. It is absolutely miserable. And the thought that someone would actually sleep in that mess, the bugs must be driving them crazy. To be willing to do that to yourself, sleep in that kind of mess. Craig says, what do I do with all the clothes when I spray Crossfire? Just wash them and dry them. Denise says, do you have much on getting rid of carpet beetles? I don't know. Let me see. So let's go look together. Let's do a search command on my channel. By the way, when you go to my channel, you go to youtube.com/greenacrespc, and then you click subscribe right here. Click notification bell, and then you can search here. Well, you don't have to do that to search my channel, but I'm just, shameless plug. But if you search carpet beetles, there's grain moth, grain beetle, carpet beetle, mistaken bug identity. I did a live stream on beetles. Man, that was a long time ago. That's 4 years ago. 4 years ago. I don't have a carpet beetle video. I should do one. Well, I'll tell you what you could do. If you're wanting to get rid of carpet beetles and you know you have them, there is a video you can watch. So if you search general pest control, there I am picking my nose. This video right here, general pest control video, it's spiders, cockroaches, ants, crickets, and more. Beetles are considered general pests. And so if you click here and watch this video, I'll actually tell you what, I'll share it. Let me click share. Let me click copy here. And let me paste it in the chat. There you go. That's a video on general pesticide, general pest control. So, and that covers lots of bugs. My wife has tons of clothes. I mean, a lot. Okay, so if you don't have a severe problem, the bed bugs aren't living in your clothes. It just doesn't happen that often for bed bugs to be in your clothes. It happens, but not all the time. Bed bugs want to sleep in your bed with you. They want to lay on the box spring with you. They want to lay, on your sofas. They want to live in your recliner. They want to live where you are, where you spend your time. That's where they want to be. They don't want to be in your clothes because unless their clothes are on your body, they're not going to just be in your clothes. If you take your clothes off and you put them in the hamper and you take your hamper down and you wash your clothes, then your bed bugs aren't going to be in your clothes. You hang your clothes up in the closet. Now, I have gone into people's house and found bed bugs living around the rails, like the doors hang on in the closet. I found that. I have found bed bugs in people's clothes. I just talked about a guy that was wearing them in his clothes. So if you find them in your clothes though, then you need to wash your clothes. You need to probably take them to an industrial washer dryer at the laundromat. That may be your only option. And they get really hot. And that's the good thing about laundromat dryers is they get really, really hot. But there is a problem with laundromats. And I'll say this for everybody in my channel now that's watching, that's paranoid over bed bugs. Laundromats can get bed bugs because people are taking their clothes and they're washing them at the laundromat because they're watching this video right now and they're going to the laundromat and they're washing their clothes in industrial washers and dryers. And they have bed bugs on their clothes. So this happens in laundromats, and very rarely do laundromats pay for pest control. But they get infested with cockroaches and they get infested with bed bugs. It's a really common thing with a laundromat. So when you go to the laundromat, you just need to make sure you comb over every piece of your clothes that you bring out and you fold. And it may be time to go through your drawers if you have a lot of clothes and just get rid of some old stuff that you just don't wear very often, or you may not wear anymore at all. And that would help a lot with the excess laundry. So, hopefully I answered your question. It didn't sound the best. And my son made me cookies and brought me a cookie earlier, and I haven't even gotten to taste it. No, when I was on the phone with Misty. I like cookies. For those who've been watching me for a while know that usually live stream night is when my son will make me cookies because he makes really good cookies. I thought he was going to make peanut butter cookies tonight, but I don't think he got the recipe. But anyway. Kojin Master asked if the infestation for Craig would be small or big. If Craig's got him in his clothes, it's a pretty big infestation. It's a pretty bad infestation because bed bugs don't typically live in your clothing because they're not attracted to clothes. Clothes don't bleed. People bleed. So unless you're keeping your clothes really close to the bed bugs don't typically live in the clothes. But if you start... So what happens with bed bugs is they go through a very hostile reproductive cycle. And the male actually has to cut through the female's body to inseminate her. And she can only go through so many breeding periods before she dies. And so what happens is after she gets enough to be able to lay eggs, she will retreat and try to get away from him. and she will move into other areas of the house, sometimes other rooms and just closets or even dressers and places to try to get away from the male. One thing about... It's just Thursday, Sarah. I only eat cookies on Thursday nights. I try not to eat too many cookies because it's not good for me. But, so bed bugs will actually retreat. The females will go and try to lay eggs in other places in order to get away from the males. And so one way you can combat this, like I said, this is why I advise people to use Crossfire, is because Crossfire is a non-repellent pesticide. So let's use a scenario. You've got a real bad bed bug problem. You can't take your clothes to the laundromat. You can treat your mattress, box spring, headboard, footboard, bed rails, sofas, love seats, lazy boys, all these different things you treat with the Crossfire. And then the areas that you're actually hanging out in, the bed bugs have to crawl over that chemical. So basically what you're doing is you're creating a barrier around yourself. The bed bugs have to crawl through it to get to you. You are, asleep in your bed, and then the bed bugs come out of your clothes and they try to crawl to you to bite you because they still need to bite you. So females still need to bite you. Even though they've bred with the male, they've got everything they need, they still need to bite you to lay eggs because they need the male and they need blood. So they come out of your clothes. They crawl across the bed. The bed's been treated. They die. So even if you can't wash everything, that doesn't mean that you're actually going to have a problem with the bed bugs continuing on in the future. All of the bed bugs will eventually come out when... All right, so I got a cookie right here. See, that's my cookie. All right? This, I had to bite this cookie. Now, I sat this cookie down, and I knew that cookie was there. It's right there on that plate. Delicious and beautiful and wonderful. I had to bite it eventually, so I did. And so you're laying there in the bed, all beautiful, wonderful, and delicious, and the bed bug's like, I just got to bite that person. I got to bite them. And so they do. They come out and they bite you and they die. Even if they're in your clothes, they come out. And that's the best impersonation of a bed bug. That's exactly what they sound like. But anyway. And you can treat your shoes. You can actually treat your shoes with Crossfire. Crossfire is labeled to treat your shoes. It's not labeled to treat your clothes, but you can treat your shoes. I know that sounds crazy because most pesticides say whatever you do, don't treat your shoes. But Crossfire, you can treat your shoes. Somebody's saying that they're the cookie police because I'm eating a cookie. But I like cookies. You got to cuff me and take me in. I like cookies. So, but I am actually going to get off of here tonight. I've been on for over an hour now. And I try to get on every Thursday nights for my live streams. I was a little late getting on tonight. I do have work bright and early in the morning. I got to go kill some termites. So you guys have a really great night. I really appreciate it. Like I said, like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell if you haven't already so you can get all my times where I'm live and all my videos that update. I got a really good video for Tuesday. The title of the video is going to be something similar to... I've already recorded it. I haven't done all of my editing yet. But it's... When is it a waste of money to hire pest control? So I think it'll be a really good video. It's not very long. It's like 12 minutes. It's kind of short video. But it goes over when it's actually a waste of your money to hire pest control. So it'll be interesting because here I am in pest control. I've been doing this for all my life. So it should be a pretty good video. Should be something you'd be interested to see. But anyway, stay tuned. Look for that video. And I'll see y'all next time.